Hi scrappy friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the final episode in our 12 Days of Christmas series. And this is the layout share, so I'm going to show you all the layouts that we created during this series, and look at that. That is a lot of layouts. So let me know in the comments, did you make it through all 12 videos, or are you jumping ahead and watching the layout share? But regardless if this is your first time seeing this series or if you've watched all 12, I will link the playlist to the series right here so you can go take a look, and I will also have it linked at the end of the video as well. So I'm going to go through the 12 layouts and I'll talk about any changes that I might have made after the camera stopped rolling. But before I do that, I just want to thank everybody for joining me. This is such a wonderful scrapbooking community. You guys were inspiring me as I was going along through this process. This is a lot of Christmas to scrapbook all at once for me. I tend to put Christmas off till the end, so this was a personal challenge for me as well. And I think that I did great because I spanned years from 1995 all the way to this year. Actually, I made a base page I'll show you. So I'm already ahead of myself. And so I feel like I got a lot of Christmas conquered. In fact, as I go through albums and start getting albums ready to scrapbook, I'm going to have to maybe think about Christmas and put those aside and really think actually about how many supplies I buy for Christmas now, because I really feel like, I don't want to say caught up, but I did really well. And this series really helped me with that. Okay, let me put this aside and we'll go over the layouts. Okay, this is the layout that started the whole series. I was using the Joy to the World collection, which was such an adorable collection. But I did bring in an old vintage gingham paper, which I just love. And this was, I think I used it later on the next page as well. Once I finished this series, I have about a 4 by 9 inch piece left. That was it. It's in my general scrap bin now, so it might appear on a layout somewhere in the future. But I loved this old print because it's really dainty and small, and it's the shade of this one was my favorite. I do have other ginghams, vintage creative memory, and with other colors and even other greens, but this one has been my all-time favorite. So a little bittersweet that it's done. So this layout didn't change at all after I finished filming. So I didn't change any of the embellishment clusters or the design layout. Okay, this was number 2. Again, I was bringing in some of that Joy to the World collection. Now, I have to be honest, I put off doing this sketch in the book for a while because I didn't think I was going to like the stripes going down the center, and as it turns out, I love it. It was such a fun layout to do, and it just kind of came together on its own. Now with the stripes, if you watch the video, I did do a stripe and then circles. I cut out 2 circles in each color and then tucked it under the stripe. And on the comments of that, somebody asked, couldn't I just cut the circles in half? And yeah, you certainly could just cut them in half. However, on my layout, I used more than a half a circle on each one, and the rest is tucked up underneath the strip. And I happen to have pattern paper that I had to kind of wiggle and move the circle around to line up straight with the pattern, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if I only had a half a circle. But yes, you certainly could use just a half if you wanted to. Now, a couple of things I added after the camera stopped rolling. I had these 2 red heart gems over here, but then I went ahead and added in some green hearts as well. Again, those came from the Joy to the World collection. And I also added in some little word stickers. I did that several times throughout the series. If you follow my videos, you know that I love little word stickers. I think it really helps to tell more about your story if you don't have a lot of journaling to say. So I sprinkled in some of those word stickers. Up here it says good times, right? That's generic for a lot of layouts. Down here, so marvelous. And then over here, I love this one because it says live colorfully, which is perfect because we're decorating colorful cookies. But the funny part is that we actually had black icing that year My daughter was into black, so we made some black and had some fun with the black icing. So kind of funny, live colorfully, and here we are using black. I would definitely do this layout style again. Number 3, this is probably one of my favorite layouts in the whole series, and I think it's only because of the beautiful dark red paper and the color tone of this paper palette. Because there's nothing really special about my design. I followed the sketch over here and did what I call a photo dump over here. Basically, I just put 4 vertical photos down, brought in the colors over here and embellished. I also brought in some gold thread and adhered it to each of my clusters, and I think that kind of gives it a twinkling effect, kind of like you are looking at a Christmas tree. Now layout number 4, this was the one that had all the peekaboo pockets on it. Now on this particular layout, I didn't do a lot of embellishing because I wanted my decoration focus to be on the border. It took me a little bit of time to create the border, so I wanted it to be the decoration, the highlight of the decorations on this page. Now when it comes to this border right here, if you watch the video, you know that I used this border punch because it reminded me of a candy garland that we used to have in our house when I was a child. And a viewer commented that it would be really cute to go back in and then cut the bottoms of the border in half so it kind of looked like wrapped candy. And when she said that, thank you, Jean, by the way, it gave me this idea like, yeah, I'm going to go in and I put little ties on the edges of it because that reminded me of the candy. The candy was individually tied at each one, but I didn't want to go that far and do it on each one, so I just did the ends to make it look more like candy. So that did change. I went ahead and I adhered my peekaboo pockets onto the page protector. And so I have one here, have one down here, one over here. So I got a lot of photos on this layout. And then this one I wanted to show you how I did it because I got asked how I do it. Now for me, you can see the peekaboo pocket has a flap. And I like to tuck the flap under. So the flap is going to be under the photo, but you can still access the photos that are inside the pocket from here. And the adhesive is on this flap. So I fold it over, I find some kind of pokey tool, and I grab the adhesive, and then I just pull off the adhesive cover. Okay. So with it still folded, I like to line up my photos. Now I know people do this different ways. I'm just showing how I do it. And I just line up the photos with the bottom photo and press down. Press down right there. Then I will take my multi-purpose tool and kind of burnish it right in there so it's nice and flush. And you can still see it a little bit, but it is not that noticeable at all. And then I put on a little tag so they know where to open it. So on these 3, I made a tag, which I'll show you how I did that here in a moment. But over here, I used a piece of a die cut. This house is tucked under, and it had this little house attached to it, so I didn't want to waste the little house. So I snipped it off, and I glued it right onto the peekaboo pocket. So that's my tab to flip it open. And I thought it was great because it's a decorated house, and here we are decorating the outside of our house. Okay, so let me show you how I did these tabs here. I did show this on a recent video, but I wanted to show you again. Okay, so I used the new circle punch. It's a 1 3/4 inch around, and I like to do it upside down so I can see exactly where my paper is. I'll have less paper waste that way. Punch out a circle. Then I take that circle and I fold it right in half. Then I bring in the corner rounder. And I use the opposite side, which I like to call the ticket notch. I take each corner is going to go in, I'm going to slide it in, and I'm going to bring the tip of that corner of the folded circle to the center of that little screw. You see there's a little manufacturer screw there. Works out perfectly. Put the corner in the center, and then you cut, and then you punch it, and you get a little notch. Put it down here. There you go. And I'll do the same thing to the other side. Line it up with the center of that screw, and punch. And there we go. On these, I used regular adhesive on both sides, and I just lined it up just like that. And that's how I made the tabs to go on these. So if you don't have embellishments that you want to use, then punch out a tab. Now this one, again, this is one of my favorites because I guess it's those dark colors. And I know brown is not a color that everybody would choose for Christmas, but I really think it pops this layout. This is the video that I had technical issues in. If you saw it, I believe it was number 5. And I'll show you what you missed. But first, this is where we made this layered cardinal border. We punched out 3 of them and then paper pieced it together. Very simple. If you haven't seen that, I highly recommend going back to this video to watch that one. Again, I believe it's number 5. And then other than that, it's just layering the photos up. I used some torn paper here, which I just decided I loved to do for Christmas layouts. When my video cut out, everything was pretty much set already, but what did get cut out was me applying these 3 flat back pearls, which I believe came from the Seasonal Sightings collection. So those 3, I put them just in a little row. It happened to fit perfectly there. And then I brought 2 right over here. I put a big one here and kind of tucked it ever so slightly underneath the present. And then I brought another one right over here, which I know it's really hard to see in the camera, but it's there. And that was it. That's the only thing that got cut out. I don't know how that happened. I apologize that happened. But really, it didn't miss a whole lot, and I wanted to keep that video in the series. I did not want to have to redo that one just over losing a couple little embellishments. So sorry about that if that was any inconvenience to anybody. And then number 6, our 6th video, is where I brought in the fabulous envelope maker. I loved that. It was really fun to give that a try. I'll be bringing in that envelope maker in other layouts because I think it could be very useful for our journaling areas and hidden journaling. So you'll be seeing that one coming up soon. So on this one, I followed the sketch as it was. It had these 5 circles down that side, and I put little sleighs in each one. And other than that, it's pretty straightforward. I didn't do a lot of embellishing. Again, it was like the other one where I spent a lot of time decorating the border, so I wanted that to be the primary decoration on my page. And then I just have a little embellishment cluster here and the title over here. Now, one thing that did change after the camera stopped rolling is I came back to my title and put a couple of those little black stars up on top of that sticker, which is also popped up on foam tape. The little stars are just some of the fallout from the punch of the sleigh. On the border, I put some here, and I thought, oh, I wanted to bring in a 3rd area, so I put it right there. This is number 7. So this one was a nice, clean, crisp layout. I loved the linear lines of the sketch part of it. And when I created the 2nd page, my goal was to just bring in all the colors that I used over here and some of the elements. So you'll see I used Sunshine Arches border cartridge up top, and I also brought it over here in a different color just to tie in those elements. I made banners across the top here, and I also brought banners along the side as well. And then I have my 3 embellishment clusters. Okay, but very straightforward. I love the look of this, and this one was also super easy to put together. Number 8. Number 8 was our live event. So we did this one live on a midweek scrap with me. This was fun. It's again this was an already 2-page layout in the book, so I was just keeping it as close to the layout as they had it in the book. One thing I changed after I stopped filming is this border down here. During that live taping, I punched out the snowflake border, and then I adhered it onto the bronze shimmer. I took all that time cutting it out, and then I laid it on, and it just looked flat and boring. So afterwards, I did pop all this up onto some foam tape all the way across. And I know you can't really tell on the screen, but in person, it just really helped pop that gold out. My goal on this layout was to use up the gold embellishments that came with the Joy to the World collection. And I mixed it with the seasonal sightings paper. And I love how it came out. I did end up using all those gold embellishments. So having this border down here really helps to pop out all the gold that I used elsewhere on the layout. Number 9. Number 9 was the layout with the big element, and I chose a tree, of course, because it's Christmas, and had some fun with this one. I love the wood grain paper that I used in the background. That one was from, I believe it was Spring Cottage collection. And I love saving wood grain papers for Christmas layouts. It's kind of like that brown. I like using those deep, rich colors. And this one goes back to 1996. So again, spanning a lot of years. Nothing actually changed on this layout after I turned off the camera. It's pretty much the same as we saw at the end of that video. Number 9 is one of my absolute favorites. I know I've said that already a couple times, but this one truly is. This is the base page that I made to house this year's Christmas photos. So I can't wait that as soon as I take my photos, I can print them and put them right onto this layout and it will be done. I use black cardstock as the base, and I haven't done that in a super long time, and I think that black really helps these papers just pop right out and stand out. I mean, the papers are beautiful, and it didn't take much to help pop them out, but I do like that I used blacks. I haven't done that in so long. And I love that I did the double mats here. I think that's going to be super great when I put the photos on. But nothing on this layout changed. Once I stopped rolling, it was all the same. Number 11. So this was a fun one. This was taking me all the way back to 1995. And I love this layout because I got so many photos on this layout. And you could have even gotten more. You could have put a photo here, and I could have even put a photo there. But I chose to keep those open and use them as areas for my embellishing. Okay, I used decorative blade on these 2 strips here to kind of give it another layer of look. And then I just used a block of pattern paper here for my base of my cluster and my title. A big long cluster at the top up here, again just bringing in other pieces of pattern paper. And then down here is a big embellishment cluster as well. So they used 3 big embellishment clusters on this layout, and I love it. Okay. And last one, number 12, we wrapped up the series with this layout, again from 1995. So I'm just so happy that I got so much accomplished this year. So I did make a few changes on this one. When I did that layout, I punched out with my 5-leaf punch a leaf up here, and as almost immediately after I stopped rolling, I looked at my sticker sheet and realized I had the best sticker left on that sheet. It went so perfectly. So I took out the leaves, brought the sticker in, and I liked it so well because I have hollies here now. Over here, there's hollies, and then over here, there's hollies as well. So I thought that was perfect. So I made that small change, and I also moved the enamel dots that I had laid out there and put them on top of the holly leaf to make, so it would represent the holly berries. Another addition I made after I stopped rolling was I took this poinsettia punch. It's a border making cartridge, and I just punched out a strip and tucked it right under there. I thought I had a lot of plaid showing here. I still do, but I am okay with that. And I just wanted something a little extra. And I felt like it kind of tied in all the red throughout both pages. Now here we did the same thing with like we did on the last page. And I did just a small rectangle embellishment base and put a lot of embellishments on it. And I just love that. The one thing I would have done differently is I might have made it a little bit bigger and maybe brought the picture and the embellishment cluster closer together, because I do feel like it's just kind of floating out there. And then ever so slightly, this star, when I placed it on the layout, was kind of just floating there. And so afterward, I moved it over to the top of the tree. Like, where else would the star be, right? There you go. That is our 12 layouts from our 12 days of Christmas. I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for coming along on my scrapbooking journey. And I really, really did have a lot of fun doing this series. I feel like I got so much done. And I thank everybody for all of your nice comments, and everybody is so sweet, and all of the likes that you give me. I really do appreciate all of it. And so I hope that me doing this series inspired you to get some of your holiday photos conquered, no matter what holiday. I hope that I showed that the sketchbook could be used for, you can pick any sketch and change your papers and change your embellishments, and you can recreate the sketch with anything. Now I just would like to say Merry Christmas to everyone, and I hope that you have a wonderful, safe holiday season, and come back next year. I have a new series planned that I'm already starting to work on, so I hope that you come back to my channel and hang out. This is such a wonderful community that we have, and you guys inspire me to keep creating, and I love that. So thank you all. Merry Christmas, and until next time, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.